Welcome to Living the Bucket List, where you'll get to meet some extraordinary people with a vision for a crafted life, which I hope inspires you to go after what matters to you. Get out there and live your bucket list. All right, thank you for joining us on Living the Bucket List, and we've got a very, very interesting guest with us this evening, Anthea Galpin, who is a character that I've met about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and she's got quite an impressive mission in relation to what she's doing with Emerald Vistas and off-grid living. There's been some turbulent times in the past with what she shared with me about the project so far, and I'd like to get her to have a bit of a chat with us today. So, Anthea, did you make the call?
Hello.
G'day. Thank you very much for taking the time. Look, Anthea, you've mentioned to me now that you're in a very, very beautiful part of Victoria. Can you tell us a bit about it?
Okay, Glenburn. It's situated just above the Yarra Valley. It's technically in the Goulburn Valley, but our little property that we are doing the Emerald Vista Project on is located in a gorgeous little gully. I suppose we're very sheltered, and it's a very, very quiet part of the world, but it's a beautiful place to be.
Fantastic. And the off-grid living out there must be something that really is quite an experience.
It is. It's a decision that we made over a decade ago when we first moved out here. We're completely off-grid. We've got our own solar power, catch our own water, etc., etc. We're in an interesting period at the moment because we are at the point where our batteries are old. So nighttime here, once the sun goes down, the batteries don't hold. So we do live via candlelight and such, which is funnily enough how we first started here. And coincidentally ended up with 3 children. So that's what happens when you have no television. And but it's a gorgeous way to live. It's just nice and peaceful.
Fantastic. So tell us a bit about your current ventures there. What are you trying to achieve with what you're doing now at Emerald Vistas?
What we're trying to do, well, over the last decade of being here, we've been trying to set up this property from scratch to be self-sufficient eventually. We have our 3 kids here, my husband and I, and we've put in place things that will hopefully see them into the future as well and teach them good habits for a start. So that's things like vegetable patches and fruit trees and, all that sort of thing. But what we're trying to expand on that with is putting up glamping tents, which will be set up and for people to come and experience off-grid living, to come and just disconnect a bit. We've had so many guests and friends, family come out here and stay before just at our place and just mention how quiet and beautiful and relaxing it is. So we thought, well, we really need to share this with more people. And I've got a background in hospitality. It's something that we've always wanted to do, to put some form of accommodation out here, and this just seems like a great way to do it. Surround the tents with permaculture gardens and things like that, and so people can step out of a tent and pick some strawberries. It's a bit of a vision. It's going to take a little bit of time, but it's getting there slowly.
Yeah, definitely. And from what you've told me, there's a few things that are really helping it progress along at the moment. Now, you'd mentioned that you'd experienced a few setbacks in the process some years ago. Would you mind sharing the experience with the listeners about what
Yeah, we did have the Black Saturday fires come through all those years ago. So that was an interesting experience. We did have the front hit us. We decided to stay, which was our actual safest option, because had we gotten onto the road, we would have lost our lives. And my husband had set up our property with our dwelling with sprinklers, so we were shrouded in water whilst we defended our house. We had our 2 little ones in the house, and so it was one of those real moments in life where you stop and, assess a few things very quickly. But it was a bit of an eye-opener, but it did, it wiped our property clean. We saved our dwelling, we saved our family, but we let everything else burn. So now we are just putting everything back in place over years. The garden has come back, and fencing and such, because everything went. So it's we sort of had it all there and lost it, and start again. But that's, you just, when you knock down, you pick yourself back up and keep going.
Definitely. You just brought back to mind a quote, which it escapes me right now, but the essence of it is exactly what you've shared with us there. And one of my mentors, he always says, look, the only failure to participate is the failure to participate. But this quote essentially was around you only learn if you don't quit through failure, which, going through the adversity that you had with the fires there and pulling yourselves back up and pushing through, it's really encouraging and inspirational to hear that things are back and up on the way for you, which I'm very excited about.
It is exciting, yes.
What about the reason for doing this? What's your why? Your deeper why?
The deeper why. Well, I touched on it before, just with we want to show our kids a different way of living, a more natural, grounded way of living as well, where it's a nice way just to disconnect. And so they've got that option, if they want to come back here, then they've always got a place that's quiet and relaxed. So that responsibility for your own being, the fact that, they know where the electricity comes from, they know that they have to conserve the water, that sort of things. They have to grow up to be responsible for themselves. They know that, the power doesn't just come from the flick in the wall. There's more behind it. So that's what we're trying to instill in them, things from the garden and food from the garden and such. So that's a big part of it, to pass on a bit of a legacy, I suppose, to our children. And then hopefully that will continue to get passed on. So that's what we're trying to ground here. So it's just, and the off-grid thing to share with other people is just, it's something that not everyone is used to. It freaks some people out. Some people absolutely love it and embrace it, but we just want to be able to show people that you can come out and disconnect a little bit, and it's okay if the power's not on at night. You just sit around with candles and have a nice chat. It's just, I suppose we want to be able to share this place with other people, the experience of living off grid with other people, have families and such come out and be able to, pat the goats and play in the vegetable patch, plant some seeds, whatever. And what the ultimate goal is to be able to offer respite to families, especially families with special needs children, because we're one of those families, and to have them be able to come out at no charge and just have a break and have the kids come and be able to touch animals and things like that, and just play with ducklings and just for the family just to have some time away from everything to reconnect, and just in a really quiet, relaxed environment. So that's, I suppose, the absolute end goal for the Vista, as in addition to the legacy for our kids as well.
Wow, that is powerful. Very, very powerful. Two things I'd like to ask you there. First, about the people who freak out when they get there and it's off-grid living. Tell us a bit about that.
I have a lot of people, well, not so much family because they're used to us now, but friends when we first decided to live off-grid, and then, because the batteries are old. And I mean, when we first built our place, we went 8 months without any electricity whatsoever. So that was a bit different, but you just adjust, you just evolve. And but yeah, some people go, oh my gosh, like, how do you function without lights on or the TV, or but you just do, I don't know, you just evolve to it, and it's just a peaceful way to be. It's not for everyone. I've spoken to some people and they go, oh, there's no way I could live without my hairdryer, or but it's you just get used to it and evolve, and hopefully we can just introduce more people to a our way of life, I suppose. Yeah, and the way of life that many people live. So
I've got to admit, it can be difficult at times transitioning from being in a very technologically based environment, getting back to grassroots, literally grassroots.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it is a little confronting, disconnecting from social media for some people too. I can appreciate that. Almost, where's my pulse gone? Um, so you mentioned that your parents with a family with a special needs child. Would you like to tell us more about that?
Our firstborn, Jerome, is 10 and he's on the autism spectrum. So he's, for years, we struggled with his communication and his social skills. Um, People look at him now and go, no, there's nothing wrong with him. But it's taken a very long time to get him to that point. Those initial years when he was young and couldn't communicate, um, and there were the temper tantrums, and I was that parent in the supermarket with one baby on a hip and dragging Jerome out by his arm, screaming. It's confronting as a parent, and it's even more confronting when other people look at you and go, you know, they seem to judge you, and whether they are or not, that's how you feel as a parent with a child who's losing it. And it's it's becoming more acknowledged now, I suppose. So it's, there's more understanding out there. But yeah, so it was quite testing. And until we actually got his diagnosis when he was about 4, we didn't know. And yeah, so it's trying. It's very, very trying, and it puts a lot of pressure on marriages and other siblings as well. So it would just be nice to offer a space for reconnection, and yeah, a bit of a breather.
That's such a beautiful thing to do. Can I ask, with Jerome coming into your life with yourself and Sean, what sort of lessons did you learn as a couple through that process?
Wow. Well, he was our firstborn, and I suppose the lessons that every new parent learns, you're completely absorbed by this beautiful person that you've brought into the world. I learnt when he reached the age that he was starting to, I don't want to say play up, but the temper tantrums were emerging, with the lack of communication. I suppose I just learnt to be very calm externally, I suppose. I remember a parent saying to me at playgroup, "Oh, you're so calm and relaxed." And I'm like, "But not really on the inside. I think it's like a duck on water. You're so constantly under the surface worried about what other people think and how you're going to deal with the situation on the outside. You just have to have that calm exterior." But I suppose that then transfers and gives you an element of calm because you're not reacting. You're not, so it's, yeah, I suppose it's just a lesson of self-control and acceptance and love. Um, no matter how he turned out, he was still our child, and it was never going to change anything between us, his parents, or, so yeah, I suppose you just accept the blessing that you've been given, and you run with it, and you do what you need to do.
And how do you see that those lessons and that experience for you translating into something that you can share with the people that are going to be hopefully moving into sharing time with you at Emerald Vistas? Is that something that you're hoping to be able to achieve to help them through what they might be struggling?
Well, it is. It's always good to have life experiences to be able to pass on to perhaps new parents who, it's, I mean, I know now that I certainly, if I see a child that, I mean, sometimes you just have to assume that the child is on the spectrum or something, but you sort of, you look at it in a different view. You would never go, "Oh, that person needs to control the child," or, how naughty. But I suppose, yeah, it's just sometimes nice to be able to talk to someone who has the same experiences as you. And I think it's just sometimes that connection, that you've been through it and they're going through it, just being able to talk to someone who's experienced it and has sort of almost come out the other side of it is just, it's therapeutic, you know. It's yeah, so I hope to, you know, and to open experiences to for the child that they may not have been able to experience prior. And, you know, there may be things here that really resonate within that child and that help them along in some way. You know, it's all about finding the key with autistic children, the key of recognition. There's always something that triggers them in a good way. So maybe coming out here, they'll find that key. So yeah, but just someone to talk to, and just to connect with people who've been through that experience.
Yes, yeah. Well, the next question that I've got for you, with what you've told me so far, I can see so much of your family values and your connectivity with people coming through in this. The four people, dead or alive, you would love to have dinner with, who they are and why. Would you like to share that with us?
Sure. Okay. Well, the top of my list is my husband, Sean, because we don't often get to go out for dinner together. And I wrote down that I want him by my side now and forever. So I would definitely want him at the table. The second person is my nana on my mum's side. Um, she never met Sean, and I would love her to. I'm sure that she's looking down, but I would love her to be there, and I'd love her to meet her great grandchildren, one of whom is named after her. Okay. Third person is John Lennon, just because of Imagine. Just, I think that's just the most amazing song in the world. And then I had a tie. Yeah, between Mark Wahlberg, because he's eye candy, and David Attenborough, because I could listen to his voice for hours, and I just think he's amazing. So yeah, so can I have 5 people?
Yeah. Yes, David Attenborough can have a +1 eye candy. That's acceptable.
Fantastic.
It's quite interesting because when you mentioned John Lennon, I thought, wow, there's so much of some of the things that Lennon approached from a philosophy point of view that I see that have congruence with what you're doing at Emerald Vistas, and particularly, I love his quote: "Life is what happens while you're busy making other plans."
Yeah,
Just
yeah, it just continues.
Yeah, it's quite amazing. But yeah, David Attenborough also, I suppose, which also ties in closely with what you've got, where he was once quoted as having said, "I wish the world was twice as big and half of it was still unexplored."
Oh, wouldn't that be amazing?
I think it'd be very, very amazing. Yeah, it'd be quite an experience. One of my heroes, fictional, is Indiana Jones, and it's all that whole sense of discovering something that hasn't been discovered yet, and it's
Yeah, absolutely.
not necessarily to discover it and bring it to the world, but just to experience the beauty of what it is and leave it.
Yeah, that's it. Yep, something that was created, and yeah, absolutely.
So, all right, if you could revisit one place or time in your life, when and where would it be and why?
This is an interesting one. Um, it actually, it's because of a feeling that I would love to experience again, and it was only very, very fleeting. But just going back to the evening of the fires, when the front was literally upon us, um, I'm I'm not particularly religious, but I, for the first time in my life, got down on the ground and I asked whoever was going to listen just to please save our family. Um, so then the front came through, and it was the most intense thing that we've ever experienced. And it is so hot, even grass fire, when you get up close to it. And it was terrifying. It was absolutely horrifically terrifying. And we had two very strong reasons inside the house to keep going. Once the front passed, because it was such a firestorm, we had another threat because it didn't burn everywhere. And the wind swung around and it looked as though it was going to come back on us again. And that was the side that the water tanks were on. And they were soft as they were, because they're a poly tank. And if we lost the tanks, then we would lose everything. And Jerome's godmother spoke to me prior and she said, last resort, she just goes, get in the dam, just get in the water. So it was a bit frightening having it potentially coming back down on us from the other direction. And as I was watching the glow, I just had this amazing calm come over me. And it's really hard to describe, but it was just something that just otherworldly grabbed hold of my soul and just let me know that everything was going to be all right, that even if we lost absolutely everything, that we would be fine, and everything would, you know, everything that burnt you could rebuild, as long as we walked away with our lives. But it was this feeling of just calm, enlightenment. It was absolute bliss in this environment of pure horror. And I remember it, and I've never felt it again, but I've seriously felt like something else otherworldly just touched my soul and just let me know that you've asked, and we're here and we've listened and you're going to be okay. And so that's where I'd not necessarily go back to the fire, but that feeling of enlightenment, then that was quite something. So yeah.
That is beyond intense. Just to hear how you've taken something that is so confronting and in a lot of cases you've said terrifying, and finding calm and peace within it because you've found a center where everything is calm and peaceful and you've been able to connect, which that is really something else. I've got goosebumps. I really have. So what about your bucket list? Obviously not right on the back of the fires and impending doom, but everyone has a list of things that they want to achieve in life or experience. Tell us about your bucket list. What is it that is on the radar for you?
Okay, well, I would love to visit Versailles, because I read a series of books that my mother gave to me, and I still have them, and I've read them over and over and over again. With Angelique books, and they were based a lot of the time in Versailles. So I suppose that's I want to connect with that one day, just to see that place. And to do Europe in general. I would love to go to places like Italy, just to experience the culture, the age, the history there, and the Greek islands as well. So just because they're absolutely stunning. So that's to do Europe, I suppose, is definitely on the list one day. Wineglass Bay, to do that, which is actually one that I just ticked off, which was amazing.
Right, in Tasmania?
Yeah, in Tassie. I went over about 8 weeks ago or so, and to stay with my mum. She had some cataract surgery done, so I went over to look after her for a while, and then I escaped for a couple of days and went down to Wineglass Bay. And I've been to Tassie a few times, and I keep meaning to do it, and I never get around to doing it, so I finally did. And I caught up with a couple of backpackers actually that we had staying in our tent for a while, and they were just young, couple of 23-year-olds, and they go, okay, we'll hike, we'll go for a walk. Unbeknownst to me, the walk was up Mount Amos, and it was not a walk, it was rock climbing and such. I nearly died, but it was absolutely incredible views when I got up there. It was just stunning, and we looked down on Wineglass Bay. It was picture perfect day. I couldn't have asked for anything better. And then we hiked / slid back down, and then did the second walk over the range to Wineglass Bay itself. And it was just amazing. We went for a swim, and it was so cold, but the water was just so crystal clear, and it was just it was just stunning. So I'm so glad that I did it. I haven't brought back a sock full of sand because I'm stupidly sentimental. But it was just, yeah, it was stunning. So I'm so glad that I did that one. Yes. Yeah, I would love to ride a pony across Mongolia and stay in a yurt. That's a bit weird, but I would like to take my mum on one of her bucket list items and take her to Canada and Alaska, because that's something that she has wanted to do all through growing up. As a child, she always wanted to go to Canada and Alaska and see the glaciers and see the autumn colours, and she's never had the chance to do it, and she's now moving on in life, and I just really want to give her that experience before it's too late, so that she's at least ticked off one on her list. So yeah, that's all I think.
And the fifth one on the bucket list for you?
Of course. Wow, that's continuing. That's the Emerald Vista Project, of course. I want to see this to completion. Sean and I want to leave a legacy. Set this property up to be self-sufficient and have it work and have it do what it's supposed to do. And so that's going to be a work in progress bucket list. Yeah, absolutely. But it will happen.
I've had another John Lennon quote come back to mind in relation to what you're achieving with Emerald Vistas. A dream you dream alone is only a dream. A dream you dream together is reality.
Yeah.
So he was a rather insightful individual. Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about when you look back in the future, what do you want to see for those whose lives you've touched?
I would just love to see that we've been able to make a difference, that we were perhaps that experience that was the catalyst for good change, I suppose. I would love to be able to offer something that some families might not otherwise be able to perhaps afford. So it's not within the realms of possibility. So just to be able to offer something that is going to help to make a difference to their lives, because you never know what that small difference, how big that difference could be in the future. It can snowball, it can ripple, it can, do brilliant things. You start with a bit of positivity and just see where it runs. So yeah, I would just like to see that those in years to come, it would be lovely to perhaps see children that we've helped and come back and go, wow, we remember this place, it was amazing, and we've brought our family back, and it's made such a difference. So yeah, just want to impact lives in a positive way, I suppose.
So as far as impacting lives in a positive way, if you could go back in time, what lessons would you give a 20-year-old version of yourself?
Save money. Even just a little bit. I would tell myself to walk through more open doors, just to experience more life, 20 years ago, just definitely save money, and just not to be so afraid and not worry so much about what other people think. No two people are alike. No two thought processes are exactly alike, and you are who you are, and you're your own worst critic. So don't worry about what other people think, just do what you feel is right.
And we quite often are the hardest on ourselves, and it's a challenging thing to overcome. So Anthea, tell me, do you enjoy reading?
I love reading. I absolutely love immersing myself in a good book. Yes.
What would you say is a book that you've read that you find that you're recommending to others?
Oh, aside from 50 Shades of Grey, I would highly recommend A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. That's probably one of the best that I've read in a long time. I haven't read it for a long time. I actually lent it to my brother, and I must get another copy. but that was quite impactful in my life. Yeah, I took a lot away from that, just about letting the ego go and enlightenment and so on and so forth. So yes, other than that, it's lots of fictional stuff, really. I'm a terrible romantic, so anything.
There's some great experiences to be shared through the eyes of others, and I've found that diving into books from time to time can be so rewarding. So, where do you see Emerald Vistas going to next? You're currently working through a couple of different things with the project. You've got a crowdsourcing platform that you're trying to raise some funds through to be able to take it to the next level to benefit your guests. And
Yeah,
you've had some success in relation to a few parties coming to the table, I hear.
absolutely. Well, we started the OzCrowd Fund, and we've got it up and running again. So that can be accessed if you just go to OzCrowd and look up Emerald Vista Project. So that's a good option for us. But also Project 23 from Stevie Mack is a great thing. It's putting us into contact with amazing people, yourself being one of them, Matt, who connect and want to help and see the benefit of this vision and the benefit that it can bring to other people. We can't do this on our own. We've got the vision, we've got the space, we have a bit of the time because we both work full time, my husband and I. But it's we're just starting to really, I suppose the new connections have opened up a new world of networking that we hadn't previously accessed, which is great. And just meeting new people that are so wanting to help. So yeah, it's just meeting new people like that, opening the doors, seeing what they can bring to the table to help out, whether it's donating to sponsor a tent, or we could have working bees out here and people who just want to come out and get dirty and plant trees and that sort of thing. So it's just I suppose we're just looking for people who want to help for their greater good and build something great so we can help others.
Would you like to tell the listeners about what you're offering in relation to the funding for the tents that you're looking for, how they could potentially benefit from that?
Well, the tents themselves, if people are interested in sponsoring a tent, and we've still got a few that we would like sponsored, then we would love to put those people up, they're a family, however many people, for a week in that tent, free of charge, every year for as long as they like. And we'd also have the tent with a plaque out the front and an embroidered name, if you wanted your name on it, or a business that you've sponsored it via, so that there is permanent recognition that you have helped out. But it's not only the tents. We have 7 acres that, yes, we have some plants and garden here, but we want to put in more. If people wanted to help create a garden, help donate plants, even their time would be recognised. So there'll be markers here to show who's helped at all times, and just to come out and stay, for a weekend or a week. Then look, the finer details have to be worked out, but we don't expect anything on a silver platter. It's all about giving back to people. So there'll definitely be recognition there.
That is such a rewarding thing, because there's very little recognition in the workplace for a lot of people for the hard effort that they put in, and the fact that you're offering people the opportunity to come and support what you're doing with Emerald Vistas, and you're recognizing that it's great. You're acknowledging the equity, not the financial equity, but the equity in the project.
Absolutely, yeah, it's important.
So thank you very much for your time this evening, Anthea. Before I do let you go, do you want to explain to the listeners what it is that you can actually see, or what you've been amongst for the last 40 minutes to hour?
What I've been amongst, in where I'm sitting here now.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in a hammock and I'm looking up at the stars. I've watched our 3 geese fly home, and the kids were sitting out on the dam wall waiting for them to come home, because they hop across to the neighbours to get a feed, and then they come back at night, and they decided it's faster to fly. And it's just wonderfully peaceful here. The everything's settling down for the night. Stars are out, and yeah, it's nice and peaceful and quiet. So that with a glass of wine, it's kind of a nice way to end the evening.
Can't argue with that, Anthea. And for everyone who's listening, look, this is within reach for you. So jump onto Facebook, reach out to Anthea at Emerald Vistas, and go out there and experience what it's like to really kick your shoes off and get your toes back in the dirt and just get back to life.
Absolutely, yeah. Emerald Vista Project, come and love us.
Thank you so much for your time this evening, and I look forward to catching up with you very soon.
Thank you, Matt. Have a great night.
This has been a production by Living the Bucket List. I'm Matthew Carpenter. For more about how you can live your bucket list, hit subscribe and go to www.livingthebucketlist.me.